Okay, so I'm doing a update video on a personal project that might end up becoming a project that I do for class. I tasked myself with creating a first-person shooter template. It's not done yet, but I believe some of the hardest parts are over, and I think now is the perfect time to do an update video. So every folder that is in red is stuff that I have personally done, and I've been using assets and like these assets that you can see here for all of the weapons. They are taken from the Unreal Marketplace. If you go to the Learn tab, straight down here to the shooter game, I just went into the content of that. I took the animations, the characters, the sounds, and the effects from this because it's public domain. That way I don't run into any issues with copyright infringement. I just drag and drop them into my content folder for my work, and it miraculously worked. There was a couple of things that I had to work around with that, one of which being the skeletal mesh, but we'll get onto that. So I decided to do this entire project using a blank template. That way I teach myself how to create movement from scratch and basically everything from scratch, especially the weapon side of it. So the first thing I started with was the mouse X, Y for up and down, left and right, jumping with spacebar, interacting with E, and moving forward, backwards, SW, moving right, left with A and D. After that was done, also that's why the mouse Y is on -1 because it looks down. Don't close that, close here. After that, I set up everything in here. First off, it was these. So I had the game mode base. After I created all of these, I would go into this, make sure that in the project settings it's using this as the game mode and not the other one, otherwise none of this would work. Make sure the player controller class is the one that I'm using here. Make sure the player state class is the same. Anything that has BP underscore is something that I would have created. So there's nothing in BP HUD except this, which when I press play later, it's got a little dot in the center. But the player controller, this is the mouse inputs. So the X is the yaw, so left, right, and the Y is pitch, so up, down. Very simple, and that's all that's in here. Then I go over to my character, and I've been using tutorials, a variety of them, for learning all of this stuff, and I've got to say I really don't like animation blueprints, but I'll get onto that a bit later. So in BP Player, there's a lot going on, but first and foremost, if we go to what we did to start off with, it was this. So I would have to, got two input axes, move forward, move right. I should have put move forward, back, move left, right. But these have to add movement inputs. And then from there we have to get the forward vectors and right vectors and rotators and break the rotator without just breaking the Z axis, because we don't want the character to, be rolling all over themselves. The jump action was the easiest because it's literally just when they jump. If it's released, stop jumping. I still don't understand how it understands that you can't just continuously jump. if you're just holding it down. I mean, I guess that's because it says press, not hold. There's also these. This creates the HUD, which I'm having a little bit of difficulty with at the moment. I'm trying to work my way around it. The HUD that I have there is the Crosshair HUD. That might be the issue. I've got it set to the same name. And then just the weapon pickups. These are all custom events. And if I go into each of, these are custom events that have certain things coming off of them, like the functions. And if we go here, I had to create these, which I'll show you in a minute. I should have been making update videos for each little bit that I'm doing, because explain it all now, I'm getting a little bit confused. This was just to make sure that I knew which weapon was being equipped before I went into the animations. Like making sure each gun was being held properly. It was just pointing straight down beforehand, before I set up all the animations, but now they were perfectly fine. So this is a massive thing for the crosshair and equipping the weapon mesh. And then we go into the spawn weapon. So in this function, it spawns the weapons actor in the player's hand and assigns it a weapon slot. There are 6 slots in total because there are 6 weapons. And very basic. So you set the local weapon. Is the first slot not filled? If it isn't, spawn the actor, set it to weapon slot 1, set first slot to filled, put it into the character's arms or hands, and return. If the first slot is filled, then it'll go to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. It seems complicated, but it's actually quite simple for that. These are the action mappings. So like I said, for those weapon slots, so press key 1, it'll go to the first slot. Press slot 2, it'll go to the second slot, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. This down here was for where it will spawn it in, just using a line trace. It was quite simple. But interacting with weapon is in weapon pickup base, and then we're just calling to all these custom events. It's very messy, but it works. What else? Yeah, this was the crosshair update, which I'm having trouble with at the moment. The crosshair's not working. I should be able to fix that very soon. I think I know what's wrong. We also got that was the hide show weapon. So if the local current weapon is equal to weapon slot 1, you set the actor to not be hidden. Because if we didn't have this set up here, which hides the weapons that are currently not equipped, they'd all be layering over each other, and we don't want that. What else was in here? I think that's all that's in here. So if we go over to our weapons, all of the weapons are running off of the weapon base, and that will come from this, which has nothing in it apart from a couple of variables. So a weapon type, which we actually need to show you that. If we go to our data, we created 2 enumerations. One was loadout, which was just weapon, no weapon, simple as that. And the other was weapon type, which is all the different weapons. So if we go back into this, we see that the weapon type is that enumeration data. So weapon type here is all the different weapons. Simple. Socket name being which bone it's attaching to in the skeletal mesh, and the default being B right weapon. Bullet spread was something that I put in recently. That'll be for the crosshairs mostly, and for the crosshairs and like the recoil, which I will be putting in later. So that's all that there is in there. But if we go to each of these, there's nothing. It's really just nothing, apart from the socket name, which changes in each one. So in the skeletal mesh in our character, here, if we go to the skeleton tree, what I did was in B-Right weapon, I created subsections for the pistol, for each of the weapons basically. That way, each of those would get molded, and I know it's in one of my blueprints. I know it's in one of the blueprints that I think it's in pickup base actually. Or it wasn't. We'll find it in a minute. But in a lot of the blueprints that aren't in BP player, I have to cast to the player just so the blueprint knows that, you know, it's running stuff from there. Interacting with weapon is running the pickup event in the BP player. You only do it once and you play the sound of the pickup, which we'll show in a minute. And there's a weapon bob animation, which just bounces it up and down, as well as a rotating movement, which just spins at 130. The higher it is, the faster it'll go. Where was the thing I'm looking for? Because a lot of the stuff that I've been doing, it's all inside of different stuff. So this is the spawn weapon. This is the action mappings. We don't need that. Well, yeah. There's a lot that I've been doing, and you know what? Let's just go into the animations right now. So again, referencing it to the player, the event blueprint update animation into a sequence, which has to go to a branch. Make sure that the player is holding a weapon, and then it can link the current weapon in weapon base to the animation blueprint, so it knows which weapon the character is holding. So it knows which thing to go through. This sets up the walking idle animation, which I don't think actually we have a idle animation currently, because when we put our arms down, we're not holding a weapon. We don't want them to be like out like we're already holding one. There's a variable here for switching which animation is happening. So the variable being is the player switching a weapon. This was the idle run animation. If we go to blueprint, no, anim graph, there we go. So this is because I didn't want to find unique animations for each weapon because I thought it would take too long, I decided to go around the route of creating all like children to the pistol for each socket, and just transforming some bones to match it, and then creating their own poses, put them into a blend pose of the weapon type enumeration, and that puts it into weapon pose, which uses the cache pose weapon pose as the output pose. And this is our state machine controlling the player's movement. So if we go into here, we've got the idle run animation and the switching weapon animation. So in here, if we're switching weapon, it will go to this, it will go to the switch of weapon transition, and then go back towards when they're not switching weapon. Very simple. I just need to find where I put all of the things, because there's a lot more code in here. Weapons, weapon pickup base. No, thank you. I've already got it installed, but no, thank you. Spawn weapon, equip weapon. Equip weapon is this. Hide shell weapon mesh. Ah, there we go. So we got this here, which hides the currently equipped weapon mesh. Not what I said earlier. That was just for showing the currently equipped one. This hides the currently equipped one. So it's asking, what's the current weapon in weapon slot 1? When I switch it, actually switch it and get rid of it. And then down here, it shows the currently equipped. So it's just this in reverse. Quite simple. I know I'm missing something in here, and I can't remember what it is. And it's really annoying me. This is the crosshair stuff that I've had to set up, and it's painfully annoying. Because I've got the translating the crosshairs, which is using bullet spread, interpretation speed. This is just moving each of them, so when I'm moving, it'll like go out because it's a dynamic crosshair, it's not static. It'll just move them slightly when I'm moving and go back to normal when I'm not. Get rid of it when it's ADS, that's in here. So if it's very messy. I really should fix this. This is a print string, so I knew stuff was working. I'm trying to fix it. So we got our bullet spread, which will divide by 50 times by -1, because you don't want it to spread out 130 kind of thing. There's another one down here where it's if you're like aim down sights, don't show the crosshair. Compile. Don't know why you're not compiled. Maybe because I've been looking at stuff. In our HUD, we've just put in the crosshair, which is just this, because we don't need the dot in the middle because it's already there with the main HUD. Does each weapon have stuff, or am I being silly? Each weapon just only has the auto rifle socket. I know this is a kind of on the spot thing, because I'm a silly Billy and I should have been doing these as I go along. See, this one, each weapon has a rifle raise sound cue, which has 3 different sounds in it for just random stuff. And in the weapon pickup base, no? I know there's more, because either way, we also added a sound to our walking. That was in the idle run, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the. There we go. So it's got different walking sounds. Very simple. So if we go to play, all of the weapons are here and just ready to be picked up, and you have the walking sound. And as you can see, you can see where I put the transform stuff in for each bone. I don't have any firing capabilities yet. That will be coming in a later update. But each weapon has its own grip, if you want to call it that. And yeah, when I find it, I'll probably put it in the next update, which I will be updating when I have added. I'll probably update when I've added shooting functions for each weapon, which will be hit scans for the pistol, assault rifle, and the sniper rifle. I think the shotgun will also have a hit scan, but it's going to be slightly different. And then the rocket launcher and grenade launcher will be projectile based. After I've done that, so you can see that this is quite an open area. You got where you pick up the weapons here. Over in this quadrant, I want to have two walls because I want to have two different ways you can shoot at, which will have different sounds and impact. And then over here will be a line of mannequins, which will show the shooting capabilities of each weapon. Each weapon will have different damage, and it will also be, depending where you hit the mannequin, that will do more damage. And when the mannequin, quote unquote, dies, it will have ragdoll, so depending where you kill them, so if you shoot them in the left leg, they're going to crumple down to the left, or shoot them in the head, they'll fall backwards. But apart from that, in the final update, I'll actually write a script, but this is a very rough update just to get things clear about what I'm doing and how things are going. Hopefully my crosshair will be fixed next time I update. Oh yeah, also speed. Speed is a float. Current weapon is the weapon type, and its switching weapon is a boolean, so it's yes or no. Apart from that, oh, and the variable of a player, just so you can call to it. But apart from that, yeah, that's everything for now. Sorry, it's such a shambles.